The following is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
BWB, this is One Nation Radio. You better get it right. Rich Latta, James Boyd came to give them life. The Blackest Wrestling Podcast has come to kick all ass and drop it 6 feet if they kicking trash. Word, let me welcome y'all to something different. And if you dig it, man, you should let some friends listen. We be getting it in, this on the regular, dude. Ravish and flow, but this shit rude. See, James don't rap, so I had to break it down. The whole network, man, we coming for the crown. Raps in the columns, I keep them both covered. Making the beats too, so the listeners can bump it. Hit us with the rating, yeah, I'm saying it's a 5. Before you hit it, talk, bob your head side to side. It's One Nation Radio, and this is the beginning. It's Rich, and I'm here with James. It's time to listen to One Nation.
We got to unleash the power of the pyramid.
This is Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com. Check me out on Wrestling Observer Live every day. And also check out your boys, Rich and James, on One Nation Radio.
This is Kenny Omega. We're listening to One Nation Radio. Check it out, guys. These guys know what's up. Big Kenny Omega fans. That's all that counts to me. Goodbye and good night. Bang.
Welcome to the May 6th edition of One Nation Live. This is Rich. I am live in the Wrestling Square Circle right now, and it is 11:55 p.m. I am recording this directly after Backlash and watching the post show. This show was a disaster. It wasn't as bad as Battleground, but it wasn't much better. And that was Battleground last year that had the Punjabi prison match. But this show, just as a pay-per-view, as a staff, a record label, and a crew, it can just go all the way to hell. They messed up so many things. They decided to have, an excellent opener, like, for my money, the WWE match of the year on pay-per-view thus far. And then the rest of the show proceeded to fall off a cliff so far, so fast, it didn't make any sense at all. I thought this show was a disaster. Whoever booked this, if it was, we know who booked this. It was Vince McMahon. This is I don't know what the fuck that means. Yeah, so we're live in the group right now. We got James Clown in the comments. We had all these folks out here leaving during the main event. We had Carmella stinking to join out. We had Nia Jax and Alexa Bliss out here. The referees were reinventing rules on the fly. Yeah, so let's just go down. We're going to run it from the top. We had Bayley and Ruby Riott in the pre-show. That was actually kind of decent. That might have been the third best match of the night overall. Opener was Seth Rollins versus The Miz for the Intercontinental Championship, and this was an incredible match. So I want James. I know he's not on the show with me at this moment, but he is watching on this video. I need you to bow down, bruh. Because The Miz came out here and topped what, Rollins and Balor did last week. I rated that one 4.5. A lot of people going, online doing that same deal. Yes, people were walking out during the main event. There are pictures. If you go on my Twitter, I retweeted them. Mass empty sections and everything else. It was just dreadful, bro. So, tweet from Brian Alvarez as far as the main event. Brian Alvarez said, "Never seen anything like what I just saw. Roman won, and they tried to cut to a crowd shot, and the shot was everyone standing up and leaving." Yeah, so it was, so the question was it worse than Castle and Skrull? So, I couldn't tell, but the arena pictures definitely make it look like it was. So I'd have to do some more research on the reporting for the live pieces, but Yeah, as I was saying before, Seth Rollins and The Miz tore the house down. No, he wasn't just usual heel cheating. This was them going back and forth, lots of drama, lots of near falls. Seth Rollins continuing his hot streak on whether it's TV, pay-per-view. For my money, he's the WWE Wrestler of the Year in the ring. The Miz was right there step for step with him. And, I came on the show last week and said I didn't expect The Miz and Rollins to top what they did on Monday Night Raw, but I didn't think they were going to lay down either. They ended up actually exceeding what Balor and Rollins did, so shouts out to them for doing that and making the Intercontinental title look great in the process. But as far as, the good things on that show, that's pretty much it. We had a lot of stuff going on and stuff we just can't keep having happen. And how this is what happens when we have a company that and they don't have to adhere to anything because it doesn't affect them financially. This is exactly the situation that we get. I remember when the WWE Network first started, I was like, wow, this is essentially like their license to do bullshit forever because they don't, have to worry about necessarily pay-per-view buys. Everything's already sold. So, man, this is a really bad show. And if you hear the disappointment in my voice right now, if you just watch what I watch, you would share the same deal. So what's up to Kyle? Looks like he's tuned in. And Dylan, Duncan says The Miz has been one of the best for a while. I agree. I've been saying that for about a year now on this show and other shows. Miz, and it looks like, he's going over to SmackDown, and he made the announcement that he's going to have a Money in the Bank qualifying match. So The Miz is probably a favorite to win the Money in the Bank ladder match. I kind of think Miz is above that, but, they want it to be a gimmick for him. So we've seen him do it before, but I think he's right on the doorstep of, winning the WWE title again. Nia Jax and Alexa Bliss for the Raw Women's title. Oh my Lord. So this was I forgot what I rated this. I think I gave this a 2, if I'm not mistaken, flat. So what they were doing was they had Alexa Bliss doing all this unbelievable kind of offense to Nia Jax, kind of catching her out of position in, a couple portions. But there was one thing in this match that just completely threw it off and ruined it for me. So when Alexa gave her a DDT on the outside of the ring, on the stairs, Nia Jax was laid out and the referee was doing the counts, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the deal, what happened is Alexa rolled in the ring. You're supposed to continue the count, on the other person so she get the count on win. All of a sudden, the referee stops and restarts the count from 1 again, and it literally they literally invented rules on the fly, and it did some, I don't know what the hell that they did. So, we had the, Nia went for the, where was it? The finish, it was basically Alexa going for the Twisted Bliss, and Jax caught her in midair and gave her the Samoan drop for the pin. After that, Nia Jax cut this head-ass promo. That was some after-school special bullying type deal, and it became suddenly clear this entire storyline was designed to push the Be a Star agenda, and this is when it happened. And I've been sitting here saying, man, they got to be careful with Nia Jax and Alexa Bliss, because I feel like the crowd's waiting to turn on Nia at any moment. So the key thing with that, I thought, though, was they would have Nia Jax utterly destroy her, and folks would come with the backlash on her. Nope, they didn't do it that way. They just had Nia Jax be a standard WWE babyface, and folks came out and booed her a little bit, when she was cutting that promo. It was kind of light, but I feel like that's the kind of stuff that people are going to go back and watch and then attach themselves to, and that's only going to get bigger. And she's done very well as a babyface thus far. Starting with Alexa Bliss, your first defense is only, so much that you can do in that situation. So I'm waiting to see Nia Jax get in there with some better wrestlers. And it was just, that promo was so inorganic. It was every WWE buzzword that was like, if there was like a word map, like when you see like the words that are just written like most search terms, like if we pulled that up for WWE and their bullying propaganda and all that, Nia Jax said every one of those, and it felt so fake, so inorganic. And then Michael Cole just like went off on, all the anti-bullying stuff. It was just terrible. It was completely contrived, and it was just, get this shit out of the ring. This looks terrible. Meanwhile, Sasha Banks is not booked out here. Meanwhile, Bayley's stuck on the pre-show. Meanwhile, Mickie James can't sniff a match. Meanwhile, Ember Moon was called up from NXT and is not sniffing pay-per-view. Meanwhile, Ronda Rousey is managing Natalya while she's not like really. They have Rousey looking like a secondary player, which she's not. Meanwhile, Natalya's not on pay-per-view. This is bad, and it only got worse with Carmella, which we'll get to later. But Jeff Hardy and Randy Orton for the United States title. These guys are old, and I feel like they showed it. And the thing is with age in wrestling, it's always tricky, because these guys are the same exact age as AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura. But the fact that we've been so exposed to Randy Orton and Jeff Hardy for all these years, literally since I was a child, I've been watching Jeff Hardy, jump off of shit. He's not the same guy. Well, he kind of is, because he's still wearing those Jinko jeans and shit. But he's basically a shell of himself. Randy Orton's wrestling slower than ever. I don't know who designed this match, laid it out, but what they did was just something that just didn't get over. I called it a professional wrestling match. Jeff Hardy went over clean, was kind of shocked at that, and it wasn't a great match. So Orton basically is just getting beat out here. So I don't know what they're doing with Orton. Maybe they're gonna turn him, but he definitely was in the heel role throughout the night. And we just saw Jeff Hardy versus Randy Orton, and it was like a nothing match essentially. So I don't know. That's really weird. But after that, we had the barrage. Yes, Kyle. Jeff is definitely showing the wear and tear. Let's go to a couple comments we had. So Duncan says he hopes that Miz wins the Money in the Bank and he needs a title reign. James says, pray to God Miz wins Money in the Bank instead of some green clown a la Baron Corbin last year. Duncan says, knowing WWE, Big Cass will win. James says, exactly, Cass equals a green clown. Duncan says, Vince, but he's 7 feet tall and you can't teach that. And they were chanting for Enzo during his match. Excuse me. We will get to that in a moment. Kyle said, yes, Jeff Hardy's seriously showing the wear and tear. James says, Jeff Hardy is still trying to take over for the 9-9 and the 2000. Duncan says, after the movie shoot, looks like Randy has put on weight. Randy Orton has had this thing where he gets in these modes where he's working out really hard and gets in crazy shape, but then he has times where he kind of just like lets it go. So maybe this is one of those times. But Jeff Hardy is, ready, to change the game with Jay-Z. He's out here, watching Shaq and Kobe win the NBA title for the first time. He's basically, seeing Serena win Wimbledon. He is out here in the year 2000, just, checking computers for the Y2K bug with them pants on. He's just, a relic of that time. And I don't know. I like Jeff Hardy, but something's not hitting for me. And I think everybody's going to start, coming for him soon. So I'm putting that out there. Don't be surprised if Jeff Hardy basically, he's always going to be pushed to a certain extent because Vince McMahon loves the guy, but it's just not going to connect if he keeps either getting these like slow, like, plotting guys to wrestle like Jinder Mahal and Randy Orton, who are like, I don't want to say this because I know it'll sound absurd, but Jinder Mahal is like a super, super duper, extremely poor man's version of the style that Randy Orton wrestles. So the way, Orton wrestles, Jinder Mahal is like the absolute worst version of it. So those are the two guys that he's, Jeff's had to essentially wrestle. Maybe we can get Andrade Cien Almas. We can see something get pulled out of there. Yes, James, Ichiro's Rookie of the Year and MVP. Any other thing you want to find from the year 2000, year 2001, Limp Bizkit was hot in these streets when Jeff Hardy was out here with these Jinko jeans. And, it's just crazy. But we had a clusterfuck of all clusterfucks. So I was talking to, I forgot who I was talking to, but it was like, yeah, man, is this show going to be 3 hours or is it going to be 4? I was praying to God that it was 3 hours. And then this happened. And I was like, this is it. This is exactly why they cannot come out here and have shows at standard lengths, because they go and do all types of ridiculous fuck shit, like just to fill time on pay-per-views. Like, people didn't come to see this. None of these dudes were booked. But yeah, let's get to that. So Elias was out first, and this whole segment was kind of designed around him. This is another example that I've been talking about with Elias being seen as a star, but WWE refuses to capitalize on it with any feuds or matches. So I don't know if they don't trust him. I don't know if they really don't believe he's a star, or they just have him, go out for these segments on pay-per-view and get destroyed. They did it to him at WrestleMania. They did it to him here. So I'll just go through it. Written down. Elias came out and, he got, cheered and all that. And he said he was friends with Bruce Springsteen. He said that Bruce Springsteen calls him the boss, and the only thing that Springsteen regrets is that he's from New Jersey. So they were in New Jersey. There wasn't a lot of heat for that. He acted like he was going to leave, then he didn't, and wanted to start again. Then all of a sudden, a New Day came out. Big E has this fucking huge bass drum strapped to his chest. Woods has a trombone, and then Kofi has these cymbals. And they said they wanted to walk with Elias, and they're doing their New Day thing. And Elias was like, nah. But the deal with it was, by this time, this was 5 to 7 minutes already of them just going through the motions doing this shit. So that after the matches started, it's yeah, we're gonna grind this show to a complete halt. After that, Aiden English came out, and he was out there with those glasses on. Glasses actually were kind of fly. I won't front, but he basically brought Rusev out, and he did a little rap and all that, and then it's wow, this is just a clusterfuck. From there, Rusev said, I forgot what he said, something. He called the New Day the Booty Boys, and then he basically said Elias was the fake Bob Dylan, or bootleg Bob Dylan, excuse me. Then JoJo basically introduced Elias again, and they shut the lights out again like it was all going to start again. Then No Way Jose and the Conga Line came out. Titus O'Neil was in the Conga Line. Apollo Crews in the Conga Line. Tyler Breeze. Dana Brooke, Bo Dallas, Fandango. Then all of a sudden Bobby Roode was out there, and he dropped Elias with the DDT, and this was just so long, and we were all just kind of watching this what the fuck is happening here? There's 50, Rusev didn't rap, but he basically got on the mic and was just talking, some trash, but Aiden English did a little kind of rap thing. But after that, I can't put into words how kind of weird that segment was and how long it lasted. It was way too long. And when I looked at how long this show was, it looked like it ended up being a 3.5 hour show, and that's exactly why. Between, Elias first coming out and the Conga Line going, it had to be at least 20 to 25 minutes. What do we get after that? We get a video package for Daniel Bryan's return. They go through the whole thing, and then they show Cass whooping his ass in the video package, and all this stuff about Big Cass pretty much dominating the entire feud in a pretty one-sided fashion. So that was my kind of hope that, okay, Daniel Bryan's going to win. So I picked Daniel Bryan to win, even though I thought Big Cass, they were going to do something dumb like have him get squashed. But what I think they did was like a primitive version of that Bret Hart and Diesel match, but instead of like a roll-up victory, Daniel Bryan just tapped this man out clean, just whooped his ass, and Daniel Bryan was carrying this man every single step of the way. Big Cass is not ready. He's like still looks like he's clearly still feeling the effects of like coming back and being mobile from that ACL injury, but he got beat like a loser. He like Daniel Bryan put him in the gave him all the kicks and put him in the yes lock and then tapped him. And the whole thing when he was basically tapping, Daniel Bryan was having to maneuver Big Cass's hands to actually try to counter the hold. And then, like, there's a spot that you'll see if you watch it back. It's like Daniel Bryan's carrying this every second of the way. So Daniel Bryan gets the clean submission in probably just over like 6 or 7 minutes, if I had to guess. Let me see if I can get the match time for you. But he basically tapped the dude out like a jabron. After that, Big Cass jumps on him, and they do this whole thing where Big Cass has to get his heat back, and Daniel Bryan just can't be victorious, but whatever, at least they didn't pin him. It was just over 7 minutes and 45 seconds. After that, Carmella defeated Charlotte, and this match here is when I realized this show is going off the tracks completely. If I hear that Carmella video package one more fucking time, I'm going to throw something against the wall. It's just so much. Like, I'm tired of seeing this shit. Maybe that's a good kind of good thing because, people are tired of this shit already. But the thing is, earlier tonight we ejected Alexa Bliss from the women's championship matches and the everything she brings, but in her place we got Carmella, and this shit here, if this is any indication, this is going to be a long, painful series of matches. The first immediate thing that Carmella does, as the Raw Women's Champion, mind you, she hasn't wrestled on pay-per-view since like December 2016 or something like that, right? And she's barely getting to wrestle like house show matches. The first thing she did was Charlotte comes out the box with a big boot. Carmella falls down before the boot connects, and like Cena at WrestleMania, as the first move, and it's like, wow, this is awful. And I was just thinking, damn, Sasha Banks has to be furious watching this match. Damn, Becky Lynch must be furious watching this match. Damn, Asuka must be furious watching this match. As all these folks that are actually good are getting left off these shows. So from there, Carmella and Charlotte just have just a dreadful match. Absolutely awful. Every step of the way, whether it's technical stuff or, just timing issues, it was just bad all the way. And they got about 10 minutes of this. So it was just going on and on and on. And I was thinking, Charlotte does not deserve this. They ended Asuka's streak, or had her end Asuka's streak. Probably, best or second best match of WrestleMania. She got the biggest entrance of WrestleMania, best entrance of WrestleMania. Next show, she gets cashed in on by, two debuting folks that have turned out to be geeks who weren't on the show. Then she loses her title to Carmella. Not in her class at all. Then basically the finish comes. So Charlotte is on the top rope, hits a moonsault. Looks like she kind of tweaks her knee. Carmella literally kicks her in the leg and then rolls up on top of her for the 1-2-3. And you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of Enzo Amore pinning Neville. It was like the same exact kind of feeling. I was like, really? This is what they're doing? I don't know, man. This Carmella shit is gonna be painful. So we got a couple comments. Duncan says Enzo really did make Big Cass and Carmella. I mean, he did the stuff to get the crowd cheering during the entrance, but I think that was a group that we're gonna look back on they were all much better together. They all have massive flaws, and WWE just loves to break people up for whatever reason, and it probably shouldn't have ever, like, they shouldn't have ever been broken up, because I don't know if Carmelo needs to be wrestling. I knew that Enzo didn't need to be wrestling. And then, of course, they want to push Big Cass at some point, whatever. And he's actually doing a good job of getting people to boo him. But as far as the wrestling goes, he's not ready. He's like gender level, like he's a square one, and he has not only like the limited ability to deal with, he has like the mobility issues with the ACL. Duncan says she's a female Enzo who's not funny. Yeah, I can only hear I beat Charlotte Flair so many times before it's just grace on you, but maybe that's what they're going for, and it's definitely working. So AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura. I don't know if there could be a more frustrating feud in WWE. Yes, beyond Roman and Brock, we have the idea of AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura. They could have had 2 classics at least already, right? And it looks like they were on their way to one, right, during this match. I thought before the finish, they were around like the 4-star level. They were getting the crowd into it. They were exchanging low blows. They were exchanging big moves. They were exchanging chair shots. AJ Styles' cheek was sliced open, and they were doing all this stuff. And all of a sudden, these motherfuckers do a Rocky 2 ending, but of course they both stay down. So in the no disqualification match, these guys are both counted out. And Nakamura doesn't win the title. AJ Styles is stuck with it, and all WWE is doing is making people like not want to see these guys wrestle anymore. They've done 3 matches in 29 days, and you're telling me we got to wait 3 matches to get around all the booking they want to do for this shit to get to whatever's on the other side. That's probably going to be some crazy kind of like stipulation match that takes away from these guys just being 2 of the best wrestlers that that we have on the planet, that can just go out there. If you give them a clean finish, say, hey, get us there. Without the agenda of a heel turn lurking on the other side, they have completely fucked this feud at every step. WrestleMania, they have the turn down, like with the volume down match, like, where they don't do a whole lot, so the heel turn can go over a little bit better at the end. So what does Nakamura do after that? All right, I get over as a heel. I become ridiculously hot on SmackDown. And yes, they did not fucking main event. And, maybe it was for the best, because if they did this in the main event, it would have just, gone over even worse. But what they did was they had AJ Styles get punched in the nuts all these weeks in a row. Nakamura changes his theme music. He gets a catchphrase. He does all this stuff to get over. They go to Saudi Arabia and they have a fucking count out. Then tonight they go out there and they are beating the shit out of each other. This was unquestionably Nakamura's best match. Like, it was heading towards that direction on the main roster. Styles looked like he was feeling it. Like this was violent. This was physical. This was strong style. This was all that. And then it's just a no contest. And I feel like they're zapping everything out of the feud, pretty much how they did the Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns feud. They're zapping it and just rolling it over until people just aren't going to care about it. And it's very unfortunate. Like, it was so unfortunate because this is the 3rd matchup, as I mentioned, and they are completely missing the ball with this feud. I don't understand who's booking this, whose idea it was. Got a couple tweets on that one. So first, it wasn't the main event. Someone's like, why does WWE insist on trying to convince us that the Universal title is more important than the WWE title? Even when Brock's not here, the WWE title doesn't main event. Someone said WWE just low blowed the WWE championship. Brian Alvarez says, this is currently my most hated booking of a feud of maybe all time. Someone said, I legitimately have no idea what the World Wrestling Federation is right now. Adam Piketty, he was like, how have they managed to fuck up a AJ versus Nakamura feud this much? It's just coming to him all over the internet. And I don't understand. Like, I don't know how you're supposed to like this. These guys could have already had these classics, and WWE just has to put their booking on it. I've never seen booking get in the way of a feud this much. This is worse than Kevin Owens and and AJ Styles from last year. I don't know where it goes from here. I'm assuming they have like a last man standing match, or they do something like they're gonna have to like raise the stakes, Hell in a Cell, but all they're doing is just like kicking the can down the road when they could have already been producing this excellence. But I don't know, man. From this point, like the show, like the air was coming out of the building. People were leaving after this, and it was just like, this is a bad show. The chatter on Twitter was getting very loud. After that, Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley started fighting against Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Nothing match, went about 8 minutes. At some weird reason, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens just started slapping each other and turning on each other in the match, and sacrificing each other to get whooped on by these two big behemoths. People still don't care about Bobby Lashley. Hold on, he said they need something for SummerSlam. They needed something for WrestleMania, and what did they do? like I'm not buying this shit. Like, hey, they needed to get AJ Styles and Nakamura to SummerSlam. No, they had already got it at WrestleMania. Like, that was the match, and if, like, in that case, like, why didn't we see Asuka and Charlotte continue? You would think they would have had a reason to continue. Styles and Nakamura, the beef isn't with them just rolling this shit over. The beef is them booking this shit to basically put a lid on it, like just stretching it out. It's like, yo, man, like, we know this shit could have been great. Y'all could have been having great matches and stretching it out how you need to. They could have swapped the title at this point. I don't know if they just don't want to make Nakamura the champion, but they don't want to beat him either, and they're doing all this fluky weird shit with him. It's like, come on, man, like, y'all are playing with like everything that has to do with AJ Styles. This is a very weird title reign, and he's held the title now longer than anyone since Seth Rollins in 2015. So we had a couple more things. Duncan said he's never seen it, but he heard one of the best matches in New Japan was Styles and Nakamura. Yes, best believe it was. And that is almost making us sound like crazy people, the way they're booking this in WWE. There's like no way that these two had this match as good as y'all say it was, because of the way they're booking this. And it's just so sloppy, so almost like so deflating. It makes you just want to turn away. And, they're trying to make Seth take, or Seth's trying to take AJ Styles the best in the ring. And I feel like Seth Rollins is like completely outclassing Styles at every turn in 2018 so far. Mind you, Styles has had a lot of weird shit thrown his way, and Rollins has had better opponents. Overall, he's had better situations. Now when I say that, it's like, yeah, he fought Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, but it was a handicap match. He fought 6 guys in a six-pack challenge match, which you can't really, judge. And then what they've done with him and Nakamura has just been like, yo, who's allowing this? So from there, Duncan says, how come we haven't heard Bobby Lashley do one promo yet? I'm going to assume promos aren't his strong suit, but I don't know. Like I said, I didn't watch Bobby Lashley in Impact Wrestling, but it would be nice to get to know what this guy's about, why we should care, or the fact that, he's just jacked, we should just roll with. But yeah, Strowman and Lashley whooped on these dudes like they stole something, and, they're putting Braun Strowman in these death spot tag team nothing matches, and it's like, bro, he was the hottest guy going into WrestleMania, and it's like, what are y'all doing? And it was nothing compared to this main event. So James says Styles Nakamura at Wrestle Kingdom 10 was better than Styles Cena at Royal Rumble 17. I would agree. They got the same rating from Meltzer, but I would agree with that sentiment, James. Just more mind blowing, and I think the finish made everyone a lot happier as well. Duncan said he was a good heel in Impact with and then Miguel says he said that he had unfinished business. So Yeah, man, Roman Reigns and Samoa Joe got put on last because they did that fuck finish with the WWE title. Even if they didn't do that fuck finish with the WWE title, I feel like they would have put them on last. Why? Because they want to beat it over your head that Roman Reigns is above the WWE Championship at this point. Or Monday Night Raw is above SmackDown and the WWE title. And this feud was hot going into it. So was Nakamura and Styles. And they had Samoa Joe jump Roman Reigns, give him a fucking Uranagi through the table before the match, whoop his ass essentially for 12 minutes straight before Roman Reigns does a move. And then at that point, they're just laying on the ground, like in the match, like in a rest hold for at least 3 of those minutes. Fans were chanting, "This is boring." They were chanting CM Punk. They were pretty much hijacking it on a couple levels below the WrestleMania match with Roman Reigns. If this is what success sounds like, if someone's trying to justify, this with Roman Reigns being in these main events, I don't know what the fuck you're watching. You're lying, and you're also just ignoring what the fuck is happening on the screen and in these matches. The crowds are coming to fuck this dude every single time. WWE is, I don't know if they're sabotaging him or what, because he didn't quote unquote work out as a dude, so they're trying to do this stuff, but they're so fucking confused that they make him win the match anyway. Samoa Joe and him tried to work hard, but people just weren't feeling it. When it comes to these main events, they're just not feeling Roman Reigns, and apparently, like, WWE doesn't care about that. Like, I've never seen such an egregious display of them trying to bang a round peg into a square hole like this Roman Reigns shit. Fans were walking out of the building. Fans were emptying sections completely. They were pushing the shit on commentary, like completely ignoring everything being chanted. And it was just like, this feels like such a disconnect from everything we're seeing, and it just made us feel like this is stupid. This is so stupid, because Reigns, with these Reigns matches now, if you're one of those folks, and my boy Josh, what up Josh, he doesn't think Roman Reigns is a good wrestler. And the way they're laying out these matches would give a lot of credence to that statement. Now, I don't agree with that, because I've enjoyed way more Roman Reigns matches than I've disliked them. But he's on a really bad streak right now. Whoever's laying out his matches, like, it seems like the problem with Roman Reigns is the same problem it's always been. They think too hard about it. They try to be too cute. And what they end up doing is just fucking not only themselves but the fans as well. Like, I don't think the fans, like, correct me if I'm wrong, like shoot me a tweet or something, but most fans don't come to like destroy the matches. If you put something out there that they want to see, they'll roll with it. Obviously they don't want to see it, so whose problem is that? We're the folks that pay for this shit. So, like, it's like WWE doesn't just get to dictate what is going to work. Like, they can influence it. They can, try to make some shit slide by us, but what they're trying to do is get in a dick measuring contest with their own fan base. It's like, yeah, we're going to keep doing this until you like it. And it's like, no, motherfucker, we don't have to like it. So what will we do? We will chant Johnny Wrestling at Roman Reigns again, in his main events. We will just keep rolling with it until you have to go to fucking Wakanda to get this dude accepted. It's not working. Turn this dude. Make him go away. Give him a kayfabe injury and take his ass out. Do something, because all they're doing is ruining themselves and Roman Reigns at this rate. It's really bad, and this show was atrocious. After the first match, there's like nothing I'd recommend unless you really want to see Daniel Bryan like first one-on-one match back on pay-per-view. Everything else on this show, you can skip. Maybe you want to see what Styles and Nakamura were building to. Maybe you want to see how the chair ricocheted off Nakamura's knee to hit AJ Styles to bust him open. open, but this show was grade A trash, and these folks should be ashamed of themselves for booking this show, for producing this show, because this is the second worst show of the decade, I would say, behind Battleground last year with the Punjabi prison match. This was awful for all these, great wrestlers that are on this show. To be pigeonholed by booking, to be fucked by match layouts, to be booked in these short ass matches that have just stupid finishes. The way that Carmella and Charlotte match ended was absolutely disastrous. Jeff Hardy and Randy Orton are out here just mailing it in. Alexa Bliss and Nia Jax, their whole shit is a commercial for the Be a Star campaign. Seth Rollins and The Miz are going to be able to look back at this show like, damn, if we didn't wrestle that 20-minute classic in the opener, this whole show should get shoved up someone's ass. And I don't know about y'all, but I made this joke after Battleground. It was like, it would be better if they gave us nothing, like that old Eminem shit. Tower Records told me to go fuck myself. Violet Brown, all that shit. So, and it was like, no, bro, they gave Daniel Bryan 7 minutes. And that the thing with Daniel Bryan's the same guy he always was, same great wrestler. This was Big Cass that gave 7 minutes, not Daniel Bryan. They gave him 7 minutes. Duncan says he can't wait for Sanity and Undisputed to come up, but Vince will probably mess that up. And is it you, or was CM Punk right in the pipe bomb promo? So the pipe bomb promo, it's funny you bring that up, because I actually saw someone say something about that recently, and it's like CM Punk's pipe bomb promo are those echoing words that you hear whenever something goes wrong. You just hear them, and you will hear them forever. And the reason that he's chanted for in these matches are a form of protest, like whenever something's not going wrong, because who was CM Punk for all these years? He was the voice of the voiceless. And, what they're doing in this, measuring contest with their fans, is like they are trying to strip the voice of the fans away. So I think that's how they keep CM Punk alive in spirit. That's how they tell, them, we ain't just gonna take it shit. Like how that old rock song go, we're not gonna take it. That's exactly what it is. What a disappointing show. They beefed this shit up like it was this big deal. It's co-branded and all that. Meanwhile, this was the 4th co-branded show of the year. They totally airballed tonight. Totally airballed. Sasha Banks, sideline. Elias, sideline. The Usos, sideline. Andrade Cien Almas, sideline. All these folks just left on the sideline. But even inserting those folks, I don't know if they would have been able to out wrestle the booking. And that's the sad part, because they had more than enough on this show. If you just rearrange, these are the wrestlers you're going to use, arrange them different, book a couple things different, let Nakamura go out and Styles go on last with a crazy match. You put Reigns and Joe on maybe 3rd, Finn, sidelined. Maybe you put it on 3rd or 4th, and you let those dudes have a strong style, hard hitting match. So you don't put Roman Reigns in that position to get booed out of the building again, because people fucking hate the guy, and they hate the fact that he's in the main event over the WWE Championship. When they see him, they're just gonna turn red with rage. Don't do that to that guy. Then Daniel Bryan and Big Cass, I get it. They don't trust Big Cass. We shouldn't trust Big Cass either. If anybody ever compares him to Test, that is an insult. Test was so much better. But yeah, man, there was just so much wrong with this show, and I really think they should consider erasing this show from the WWE Network and making sure nobody sees anything past the Seth Rollins and Miz match. It's one for the ages, reversed. So, but yeah, man, that's pretty much going to wrap up the review for WWE Backlash. Thank you guys for listening. If you would like to hit us with a rating and all that, we would definitely appreciate it. Remember, we are an independent podcast network, and our budget comes from word of mouth. The only way we're going to reach more people is with your help by sharing the show and rating it. Make sure you guys check out the Wrestling Wash, Outsider's Edge, Ricky and Clive Wrestling Podcast, and also Keeping It Strong Style. Hit us all with those 5 5-star ratings because they mean a lot. This was a absolute dog shit show, and I'm going to be on Chad Matthews' show with Dave Fenichel, and I feel like we're all going to be burying that show, and that will be out on Wednesday on Lords of Pain Radio. But thank you guys for listening. This is Rich, and I'll see y'all later this week. Peace.
Thank you for listening to One Nation Radio. We'll see you next time.